let's just get right into it today because we are welcoming the one and onlys, Andie Mitchell and Sabrina Kohlberg.
Hi.
Hey.
I mean, I really should just say from the Pop Culture Moms podcast, I mean, who doesn't love a bunch of moms?
I know.
Well, moms
They're
are the
fun.
best. And I think once you become a mom, you're entered into this club where everybody is so warm. It's
Yeah.
the mothers you always wanted.
Really? It's not like, where do you guys live? You guys live in different places?
We do. I live in New Jersey.
And
Oh.
I'm in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
like, I have friends that talk to me about the competitive moms in their suburban towns, which is so
you know
boring.
what? We're going to get there, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think we'll
Maybe our
get there.
kids
We
are
have
too
young kids. So I feel like one day we'll get there. But right now, when you have young kids, everyone's just like, are you surviving?
Yeah.
Because we're all
It's
just
really,
like really barely surviving.
it's supportive.
Yeah.
I have a almost 4 and a 6-year-old. Sabrina has a 3 and a 5-year-old. So
Mhm.
maybe give us like 3 more years and we'll come back on and talk about the mom politics.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Well, you guys can come back on before that. I mean, we should also say Pop Culture Moms. It's a GMA. I mean, I'm from New York originally, so GMA and ABC podcast. GMA holds a
Mhm.
special place in my heart.
Me too.
You guys have been best friends for 20 years. Like, did you grow up loving pop culture?
Yes.
Obsessed.
Really?
Obsessed.
Okay. Same
Truly,
here.
it's
Mhm.
not something that we've ever had to study, although we have studied it like it
Mhm.
was a degree. But we always bonded over love of movies, love of TV, love of celebrity gossip, like Us Weekly, People, reading all of the things. And
Yeah.
so that's just such a central part of our relationship and always has been.
Same here. I went to law school. I practiced law. I'm also an accountant. I don't know anything about anything in the world, but like when people talk about pop culture, I'm like, oh yeah, and that's like Laura Layton from Melrose Place. And then she was on that show for like, and they're like, what
Yes.
show? I'm like, well, the show was only on for like 4 episodes. You'll never know. I'm like, I don't know how I know this stuff. It's literally the only thing that in life I'm good at. Truly.
Me too.
You're really
Yeah.
good at it and same. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's a passion. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it is a passion. I'm pursuing this in my downtime. Before I go to
Mhm.
bed, I'm scrolling Reddit to find out what the housewives are up to.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, like, I don't remember things in life anymore. And like, I could remember the most minute details, not years. I'm bad with years, but like, oh yeah, she was on this show. And who was that random actor that was on this show? I'm like, I just could remember all this. I guess if
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're really interested in something, you just remember it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just talking about this recently. Like, I can remember full episodes of Oprah I watched in
Oh,
like the fourth
wow.
grade. Like, I'm like, I remember those details so insanely. And then, like, I can't remember anything when I go to the grocery store. So I don't know
Totally.
how to.
How
Agree.
did you guys decide to then take that love of pop culture and start a podcast?
Well, we talk on the phone every day. We're not texters. We're not like FaceTimers, but we would get on the phone. I would put her on speakerphone and we would just talk about everything pop culture related. And we had just become moms and we were often talking about parenting and not having any idea what we were doing. And then the people we were looking to are these moms on TV and in movies. And we were like getting wisdom from them. And we were like, oh, this is a fun idea. Like, what can we learn from our favorite TV moms? So we just thought it would be really fun. And we've had so much fun doing it. And we've got to interview some amazing people.
You have.
And
Listen, you
also
have.
we
Yeah.
had like I'm sorry. We've
Yeah.
also realized like that there were moms that we seemed to like before children that now we're looking at them and we're like, was she that good? What,
Yeah.
like you really
They
have, we were
change.
really reevaluating. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you've had some of my personal friends who have been on this podcast. I do every month with Melissa Rivers. Her and I do a show together. You've had Patty Stanger on
Love
your podcast. So I look through it and I'm like, we have lots of people in common here.
Yeah.
You love them.
Yes,
Loved them.
I love talking to these women are they're truth tellers. So it's
Mhm.
really nice. Like you really feel like you're talking to someone who's being authentically themselves. It's
Yeah.
fabulous. And a lot of hot takes. From
A lot
Patty
of
and
hot
Melissa, I
Yeah,
love
from
it.
takes.
Patty for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Patty doesn't hold back. Yes.
No.
Before we get into some Bravo stuff, like what was it growing up? Because like for me, I mean, it was, and I'm dating myself now because this isn't really a right reference, but it really was like 90210 and Laguna Beach and like
Oh,
Melrose. Like, what was your like Madonna? I mean, there is 80s stuff built in there, which ages me, but like, what was your like favorite stuff?
Well, I think for both of us, like it starts at Titanic, which was like, and watching Leo and Kate Winslet on that publicity tour that they did and going to see that movie. I mean, I couldn't get
I'm
enough.
still hoping like something will happen. They'll get together.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
if they were married. And then for me, I was like the queen of teen dramas. I couldn't get enough of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Dawson's
The
Creek.
WB.
Yeah, the
really was, like,
WB was
your
my
alley.
sweet spot. So that's where my obsession with pop culture
Yeah.
really started.
Yeah. I think it's
Felicity,
like that
Charmed.
time.
Oh, they
Felis-
were so
oh my
incredible.
gosh. You know, all of that time period, like late 90s, early 2000s, like that is still my royalty. Like the
Mhm.
A-listers then will always occupy a space, like the Matt Damons of the world, like the Gwyneth Paltrows of the world, like just because of who they were then, when there wasn't social media and everything like that, they they were just I was obsessed. I wanted to know everything about them. I read all of their interviews and I thought it was so cool because we didn't have the same access. So I think
Mhm.
it's indulgent now that we can just see like what people are eating for breakfast. But that period of time and Lindsay Lohan coming up, the Paris Hilton, like all through
Totally.
the ages.
I go to a lot of these cons. I just went to 90s Con this past weekend in Daytona Beach. I'll keep my
So
opinions
fun.
on Daytona Beach to myself, but it was like Melrose, not to be a snob, but it was like, Melrose, it was like Heather Locklear was there, and it was like, I got to go to this. And I've had some of them on my podcast, and it was like, I mean, it was other shows too. It was like the Lawrence brothers and O-Town, and it was a whole thing. It wasn't like everybody from it was like a bunch of the 90210 people, but that you would have like Little
I would
Saline
have loved it. I loved
Spy.
90210. I really loved 90210. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did.
That was
Yeah.
like
That
my
was
gateway.
and we're deeply missing Shannon Doherty, but I
She
mean,
was, and as like a person, I have to
Yeah.
say, like, not Shannon, it was literally the nicest of them all. It was like insane how nice she was. Like, she just, and really smart, like you meet someone,
Yeah.
you could just tell when they're like a smart, listen, not all actors are smart. Shannon was like really just brilliant. It was very strange, like how smart she was.
God.
I know. You also interviewed some housewives. You interviewed Heather Gay and
Oh,
Garcelle
yes.
Bouvet.
Yes.
Two of the best ever, I want to say. I think, and Sabrina and I agree. I think we're willing to say best mothers
Mhm.
in all the housewife franchises. I think that
Yeah.
those two are very, I mean, look, it's hard when you're a housewife because the audience wants someone that they can like buy into with, that they can, you see the world as they see the world, that they're like the voice of reason. And I think Heather and Garcelle both have that. But like we know from like Eileen Davidson, who I loved, if you're too normal, you can't stay. So you have to have a little bit of like an X factor or a little bit like you're willing to get in the mud, And so I think Heather and Garcelle have like just the right amount while still like, they're giving us interesting drama, but they seem like truly good people.